We would like to call the March 3rd meeting to order. There is a quorum. Trustee Newman and Treasurer Eldridge and Trustee Thornton is not here yet. I think Trustee Thornton will be here. If those who are able, if you would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer. To the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you remain standing for a moment of silent prayer, please. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is to have our fire department honors. Chief?
Good evening, Township officials. Steve Dinsmore, Fire Chief, the Ypsilanti Township. Have a milestone day today. I have Firefighter Liam Driscoll here, who has officially passed our in-house and is off probation. So he's a full-fledged member of the fire department, which means he's proficient in our operations and our guidelines that we wrote over the past few years. And we'd just like to recognize him tonight with me giving him his badge. Actually, I'm going to turn his badge over to his brother. His brother's actually going to pin it on his shirt for him tonight. So just before we do that, Liam, if you raise your right hand for me. So if you repeat after me, I would never allow my personal feelings.
I will never allow my personal feelings.
Nor danger to self deter me from my responsibilities as a firefighter. Deter me from my responsibilities as a firefighter. I will all times respect the property.
I will all times respect the property.
The rights of all men and women.
The rights of all men and women.
In the laws of my country and members I serve with.
The laws of my country and the members I serve with.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thanks, sir. My friend.
I'd just like to thank everybody on the board and the department leadership and everybody in my shift and department for the support, the mentorship, and my family and girlfriend who made it out here for my support, and just hope to have a long career serving this community.
Congratulations.
Welcome. We need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Peterson.
Motion Peterson. Rowe. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On the consent agenda, we just have one change on the minutes, which is page 3. Item number 2, we forgot to say the motion carried unanimously. That's the only change. A motion and support for the consent agenda is in order.
So moved, Peterson.
Motion Peterson, support Rowe. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 6 is our attorney's report. Mr. Winters?
Madam Chairperson, before I give a brief update on the data centers, I would like to at least point out that today and yesterday have been 2 good days for the township, and that today was the grand opening for the sheets. I think that was well attended. I think that's going to be an exciting addition to the township. Even more so is that they start out their employees at over $17 an hour. They also provide health care. They have 401k, provide opportunities for advancement. And as we've said many times, the backbone in this country for job creation is on the small businesses. So again, Sheets is opened. Yesterday, we also issued a demolition permit for the Zippy's Car Wash that will be coming also on the West Michigan-Ellsworth corridor. They'll be demolishing the existing vacant car wash and be building a brand-new Zippy's Car Wash there. And that's also a great addition to our tax base and employment. We also yesterday signed the papers. Supervisor Stumbo and the clerk, Debbie Swanson, signed the papers to sell the 0.26 acres of property in the Seaver Farm to the owner of Culver's, who, after he starts his construction in coming months, intends to sell the remainder to a credit union that will fill in all that area along Whitaker Road on the frontage portion. So again, a lot of good things are happening, and the township has to keep on moving in spite of the energy that's been expended in regards to our ongoing struggle, and it is a struggle, with the University of Michigan and Los Alamos. And what I would say tonight, because I have recommended in previous letters that I believe the time has come for the township to schedule what I believe would be a third public informational meeting to discuss a number of impacts that we believe are going to be associated with the planned construction of these data centers on Bridge and Textile Road, especially Los Alamos National Laboratory. As children, I believe all of us are brought up in a way that you are going to be reprimanded or even punished by your parents if you call someone a liar. It's not a very polite thing to say, and so you try to figure out a different way to point out when someone's not telling the truth. And also we've learned over the years that if you tell an untruth enough times, those untruths have a way of becoming kind of woven into the fabric where people actually believe what is really an untruth. And so what's happened here goes back to the very beginning when we first became aware of what U of M's intent was in regards to these data centers. And at the same time, from day one, they have continued, even through this past week, they continue to tell the public that they are publicly engaged with township officials over these planned data centers. They continue to tell the public that they are engaged with ACM in terms of looking at Willow Run as a viable alternative location. That is simply not true. Subsequent to our last board meeting, Supervisor Stumble went to the U of M Regents meeting and was given a whole 2 minutes to actually speak on this important topic. She used those 2 minutes very, very wisely, and at that time, she again invited them to come to the township, invited the regents to take a tour of both sites, invited the regents to rethink the impact they're going to be having upon this township by locating these data centers on Textile Road, 144 acres, separated only by an access road leading directly into South Hydro Park, a 17-acre nature preserve off of Textile Road. And at the conclusion of her 2-minute speech, in which she requested them to really do the right thing, she simply was told by one of the regents, I believe, I saw it on video, that we continue to be engaged with state and local officials in regards to looking at these two sites. Not true. Not the case whatsoever. We were told by Chris Cole that they continue to be actively engaged in looking at the Willow Run location versus Textile Bridge Road. But yet, when we reach out to ACM just to verify, are you meeting? Is there anything you can tell us in regards to not the substantive discussions, but what have you planned? What dates have you met? When is your next meeting? We are told in no uncertain terms, we have not had any meetings scheduled at all during 2026. No meetings are scheduled, and quite frankly, there are better uses for this, better fits on this property than the data centers. So when they tell you that they continue to negotiate and be involved in really evaluating these two sites, simply not true. There was an interview that was posted in the Michigan Daily newspaper involving the professor of engineering at U of M, who has been their lead point person on these data projects. And he was asked a question in regards to what communication has occurred between U of M and Ypsilanti Township. And in this recent publication, back in late February, he said this, Professor Stephen Cecchio, quote, "We've made significant efforts to communicate with Ypsilanti Township and the political leadership at all stages of this project, and we will continue to do so. We've held multiple public events with community members, and we will continue to plan outreach events. U of M strives to partner with our neighboring communities, and we look forward to having conversations about potential projects we could undertake with Ypsilanti Township should the facility be sited there." Now, when he says that, number one, we've not had any kind of multiple meetings, multiple public events, no engagement whatsoever. We had the 120-minute Zoom meeting back in November before Thanksgiving where they looked at us and said, "What do you want?" We have no update. That was the only meeting we had in November, which was the second meeting followed by the one we had in July when they told us that they were coming here. So when they talk about doing potential projects with the township, should the facility be sited there, they're not talking about ACM. They're not talking about Willow Run. They're talking about Bridge and Textile Road, and they're hoping that somehow the township is going to be willing to be bought off and take some project they're choosing. I think one time they mentioned about putting a boardwalk around these data centers. But make no mistake, they are continuing to mislead the public at the highest level of the university that they are engaged with this township board in a meaningful way when that simply is not the case. Now, if in fact the board decides to have another public informational meeting, I think we've pretty much made it clear U of M is never going to proceed in a good faith manner. They're not a good partner. We were told that from the very beginning by their own employees. We were told that by their faculty. And we've seen it demonstrated time and time again. But what I would like to at least start looking more closely at is the fact that this university, in conjunction with the federal government, Lansing, is going to put a bullseye target on the backs of Ypsilanti Township if they locate the Los Alamos facility on Textile Road. Make no mistake, that is a major, major high-value target. And I have said that from the very beginning, back when the attention was really focused on U of M, and Los Alamos was kind of somewhat in the shadows a little bit of the conversation, that they have always been designated as being a high-value target. The facility in New Mexico is obviously an even higher value target because they actually produce the plutonium pits necessary for the production of nuclear weapons. They're located in a desert. That's where they should be. But to bring this facility over here to Ypsilanti Township, you can do your own research. Every research, every nuclear scientist, every person at the federal level is already given this a Tier 2 rating, which is behind the one in New Mexico, followed by a Tier 3, which is not what is not where we're at. We're definitely in a Tier 2 category because they're engaged in a lot of nuclear research, computational modeling. It's going to be used for the production of nuclear weapons. Make no mistake right now that this Los Alamos, if they gain a foothold on Textile Road, we will not be in a position to determine what materials are being brought in, what materials are going to be tested. We will have no say-so if they decide to expand. We will have no ability to even inspect the facilities. These are all going to be very, very highly restricted areas. And as you can see right now playing out on the world stage over the weekend until the last couple of days, once you start getting into conflicts around the world, high-value targets such as Los Alamos is not something that's just a game. It's a reality. They locate that type of facility right on the banks of the Huron River. We have our hydroelectric dam. We have the Yucca water storage tanks. We have airports nearby as far as that goes. To somehow, not to mention the Yucca water facility, the Yucca water plant itself, we are definitely putting ourselves in harm's way by having that facility here. It's going to have a negative impact upon property values. It's going to have a negative impact upon our image. And all this is happening in real time. And we're sitting here as a board having to actually at times feel like we're groveling to ask our elected officials, as I said at the last board meeting, where do you stand on this issue? You call yourselves environmentalists. Where do you stand on the issue where the negative impacts on the environment are obvious? You say that you're for environmental justice, that you're against environmental racism. Where do you stand on the issue of having this locate in Ypsilanti Township, which is already struggling with a number of issues that are not seen in other parts of Washtenaw County? Where do you stand? And yet, even though we have passed resolutions, written letters, I'm at least glad to see that tomorrow night the county board at least has on their agenda a proposed resolution asking U of M, could you at least consider going to an industrial site, maybe Little Run? It's not as forceful as it should be, given the fact that they're supposed to be looking out for all the same issues that we stand for, our values, but it's on their agenda. So let's see what happens. But again, nothing is happening from State Senator Jeff Irwin's office. Nothing has happened from the governor's office. Nothing has happened from U.S. Senators Peters and Slotkin. And again, this township board has been the only board that initially has said to U of M in Los Alamos, why don't you go to the industrial brownfield? That's where you should go. It's been cleaned up. $100 million went into it. The property is owned by the state of Michigan. Why don't you go there? And even though we gave them an alternative, they continue to look the other way and have kept their eyes solely on Bridge and Textile Road. So at the earliest opportunity, be it March 26th or sometime soon, I think the public should be updated more thoroughly in regards to the negative impact that having a federal government research facility that specializes in developing nuclear weapons located on a 2-lane road, textile road, where the truck traffic is going to be significant and where the dangers are going to be very obvious. They're going to have perimeter security. They're going to have 24/7 lights. In some places on their locations, they actually have armed security patrols surrounding their properties. Would I expect that over here? Absolutely. Because you're locating on the banks of the Huron River, and they will do everything they can to make sure that nobody crosses their, quote, perimeter onto that property, which is going to have a negative adverse impact upon the township residents who simply are trying to get to South Hydro Park from that access road, which is McKean Road, to go and down to the Huron River where they canoe, fish, bird watch, and have other passive activities. At some point in time, you almost kind of feel like you're in the dark crying for help and nobody really cares, nobody's really listening. And at times you get the feeling that people want you just to give up, walk away and be quiet, or take some kind of morsel of crumbs to be quiet and take this and call this a community benefit. The only community benefit the township wants is for Los Alamos not to locate here. That would be the best community benefit that we could achieve. And at this point in time, I'll leave it to the board, but I'm having more and more serious reservations as to whether or not Los Alamos should even be locating in this township, given what they are producing, given their high value target, and given what's going on in the world today. We're seeing it happening in real time, and that conflict will not be the last one that we'll see in the years ahead. So at this point, I don't want to be redundant, but I will say right now that I keep going back to a statement made by Chris Kolb and the Los Alamos vice president when they did have their so-called science fair public hearing at the Marriott. And Chris Kolb was quoted back then as saying, quote, in an interview with the Daily held the day prior to the open house, Chris Kolb, University Vice President for Government Relations, said the university's previous statements regarding the data center's potential role in nuclear weapons development were not misleading. Quote, we've never shied away from identifying Los Alamos once we were able to publicly, or the mission they have, Kolb said. They've talked about 4 main components One is to maintain the viability of our nuclear stockpile. However, Cobb said he could neither confirm nor deny whether Los Alamos would use the data center for plutonium pit research. How can you not confirm or deny a question, are they going to be involved in plutonium pit research? And when you say I neither confirm nor deny, I guess that's your safe way of saying I don't want to answer the question. But if you're speaking the truth to people of this township, we don't need to get some type of lawyer-like answer. We neither confirm nor deny. Which one is it? Are you or are you not going to be involved in plutonium pit research? The vice president from Los Alamos said, while the Los Alamos portion of the data center would not exclusively be used for computational research for plutonium pits, nuclear weapons research would be a key part of the center's mission. So again, you are basically putting a bullseye target on the back of this township. And as the old saying goes, while Rome is burning, Nero is fiddling, we have our local, state, and federal politicians walking away, leaving this battle to be foisted upon the backs of Ypsilanti Township officials. And all we've asked at the very beginning is to actually go to a brownfield site that has actually been remediated. But instead of embracing that option, they again started giving mistruths or untruths that that site was contaminated. Not true. $100 million went into that property and had to be cleaned up as a result of General Motors filing bankruptcy. That was the deal that was made between the federal government and General Motors. Those properties had to be cleaned up and repurposed for use in the community where the bankruptcy occurred. And to add insult to injury, and I'll close in a second here, to add insult to injury, on top of not making them go to the brownfield site where they belong, on top of not actually telling the truth that they have not been engaged in negotiations, they actually rewarded U of M and Los Alamos for not going there by awarding them a $100 million grant from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation to go to Bridge Road, Textile Road, based upon a letter of support they obtained from Ann Arbor Spark, an economic development organization and basically an arm of the University of Michigan, as opposed to coming to this township board for consideration. So they're financially involved with this selection. They've steered them to the location, and they've put all this potential harm right in our own backyard. Not to mention this DTE substation that's going to be constructed in the corner that will generate enough electricity to power between 80,000 to 120,000 homes, and will generate more electricity for those facilities than is consumed by all other township residents and businesses. So something is wrong. And I don't know what more to say tonight. I do think we need a third meeting and focus exactly on Los Alamos. Don't let up on the pressure that you're bringing to bear on the public officials. I think all of you have been out in the public and you've talked to people, whether in your church, in the schools, in the CVS, Walgreens, grocery stores, doesn't matter where you talk to people. I have not met one person yet that wants U of M and Los Alamos to come to Bridge and Textile Road. Not one person. And I have to believe in my heart, maybe I'm wrong, that many people outside of the township also feel that way. I don't understand as to how people in the city of Ann Arbor City Council could support this mission being dumped on Ypsilanti Township. I don't know how all the environmentalists who claim to be that stewards of our rivers and our air, they would, in our rivers, would somehow support them coming to the banks of the Huron River. But anyways, I probably have said too many times, I'm gonna wrap it up, but I will this time. I just want right now to encourage you to keep on fighting the good fight, because I don't think we're done, and we're not going to be bought off. We're not going to take some kind of a community benefit that's going to show, look at me, look what we did for the township by putting a boardwalk along the banks of the Huron River. That's not what we want. We want safety, we want security, we want to control our own destiny. We don't want any more lies. Just tell us the truth, and we can deal with it. Because I think this board has made it very clear, we're not going to go away. And we're not going to stop speaking the truth. And we're not going to give up. We're not going to reveal all of our strategies, but we're not going to go away. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winters. Are there any comments? I do want to say that in the State of the State, Governor Whitmer said, "Big Gretch out." She's still getting paid. As long as you're getting a paycheck from the taxpayers, you're not out. You're still in. Senator Irwin, he's term limited, and he needs to fight for us as well, and he hasn't yet. Actually, he's supportive of the University of Michigan and textile in Button Road. You need to represent the people. Which side are you on? Are you on the resident side? Are you on the environmental side? Are you on the public side? Are you on the big money side? In U of M, I did go to that meeting. It just dripped of wealth. I was just shocked. Marble, fancy things everywhere you go. They had more security than we have officers at a meeting. They were nice, I guess, but Mr. Brown, the Board of Regent Brown, made a comment as I was walking back, and Doug read it, and it's untrue. It's a lie. Like, I don't know. I know we shouldn't say it's a lie, but it's a doggone lie what they're saying. There is not 1 ounce of truth in it. And they keep saying it. They put it in print. And we are looking to schedule a meeting on March 26th from 6 to 9. We were trying to look for a larger venue because so many people want to attend. But we are thankful for the videographer that we have, and we posted up on YouTube. But I just don't know how anywhere in the state of Michigan that you can protect from a drone attack on Los Alamos. They are going to be a target. They are the singular producer of the plutonium pits. It's going to happen here. And we won't ever know about it until there's an incident. And when there's an incident, it's too late. Our community does not deserve this. I don't think the state of Michigan deserves it. And I say to Big Gretch, who's out, Los Alamos should be out. And we really need to continue. I do think we're making a difference. I think more people are aware, but like Trustee Rose said, we're going to have to do a mailing to our residents. So more people are aware, and they can reach out, because everyone knows somebody, and you don't realize it until you go to a meeting, or you're sitting around a table and you're talking to people, and we have some young people here. Like, they can start the movement with us. It's been a uphill, heavy lift. But our board And our professional staff is committed to it, but we need more soldiers and to form an army against them. And we will have another meeting to do that. If anyone thinks the development of plutonium pits is good for any community, then they're crazy. There's nothing good about it. It's not safe here. It should be in a desert, which is where they are now. But to locate them in the water, the fresh water that's around us, it's just, this makes zero sense. So I say to Big Gretch, put it in your community. I say to Senator Irwin, put it in your community and see how your residents feel about it. Or have a conversation with us about it and try to understand where we're coming from. And until that happens, it will never, we won't stop it until the people who make the decisions and decided it was a good idea to bring it here. $100 million. Do you know what $100 million could do for people in our state? It's just a sad state of affairs, and they need to stop lying about it. Just tell the truth. And if they can, U of M controls so many things. They have outlets and medias that is actually unbelievable. And if we will try. We're going to keep trying the best we can. We're on the right side of it. And we know that, and the residents know it. And thank God the residents have been so involved from the very beginning. They brought it to our attention. They told us about U of M. They told us about Los Alamos. And they told the truth. So we'll keep fighting it. March 26th, we're looking at 6 to 9. Right now, if we can't find a bigger place, it'll be here, but we will post it on YouTube. So thank you, Doug, for all your efforts, and we'll continue and keep people posted to the best of our ability. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is new business, which is additional services for 14B District Court renovation project from Guardian Alarm, W.J. O'Neill, and UKG for alarm services, HVAC controls, and the time clock, which is budgeted. A motion is in order? Motion Rowe.
Support, Thornton.
Support Thornton. Is there discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Pardon me? It's grant funded and budgeted, yeah. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 2 is a long budget amendment. Clerk Swanson?
Okay, motion to amend the 2026 budget number 3. Move to increase the general fund budget by $25,059 to $12,653,993 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the fire fund budget by $4,020 to $7,257,320 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the environmental services fund budget by $639 to $4,586,308 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the recreation fund budget by $808 to $1,104,654 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the 14B District Court Fund budget by $999 to $1,953,716 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the Building Department Fund budget by $318 to $1,003,839 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the Hydro Station Fund budget by $255 to $536,266 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the law enforcement budget by $2,198 to $9,962,034 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the compost fund budget by $255 to $1,146,211 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. So moved.
Motion Swanson,
Support Peterson.
support Peterson. Is there discussion? Most of these amendments were for the Michigan Municipal League liability and property renewal. There was an increase, and we didn't budget enough for that increase as anticipated, so we had to make all these amendments for that. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under authorization and bids, we have request to seek sealed bids for one 72-inch zero-turn mower for the Parks and Grounds Department. It is budgeted.
So move Peterson.
Motion Peterson,
Support Thornton.
support Thornton, and this will be brought back to the board. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we have public comments. If people would like to go to the microphone and give us your name and whether you're a township resident, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Yep.
As hearing the board talk about them keeping those nuclear weapons in Ypsilanti Township, can people who come to like the township meetings or the people of the county vote on whether we keep those nuclear weapons here, or does it all have to do with people in power here?
The University of Michigan that is not required to file any site plans or tell us what is going on, and it's also part of the federal government, which is again exempt from what is actually going on in the buildings.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other public comments?
All right, I have my own issues with, I own an apartment complex in Ypsilanti, just a 20 unit, and I'm having a problem with the inspection fees. They're intolerable. And inspectors are acting like thugs who are out to steal as much money as possible through your ordinance. Example, like the current inspector, he came to my place, okay? And he checked a smoke detector. He pushed the button, it didn't go off, and he continues on with the inspection without saying a word. I had to interrupt him and ask him to push the correct button on the detector. If I wasn't paying attention and I didn't tell him what to do, he would have failed me on a life safety violation, okay? Instead, he found a missing drain plug, okay? Another $30 down the drain. He's coming back for a reinspection for a drain plug. You all know what a drain plug is in the bathroom. Okay, the tenant never used it, never asked for one. I would have got him one. Okay. Your excessive fees and unnecessary re-inspections for minor violations are very similar to racketeering, especially with poorly trained ordinance officers on a power trip. Okay, telling someone what to do as opposed to teaching individuals the importance of why they should do it and giving people a choice. You know, it's a difference between a dictatorship and freedom. It would be more practical to educate your constituents. These inspections are overwhelming for me. I understand there's some bad apartment complexes out there. I know there's some bad landlords out there. I get it. But right now, I'm small. I'm trying to keep my rents low for my tenants. I love my tenants. They're really nice people, and this just isn't fair for them anymore. You know, I'm $8,000 now for all little things that I understand. I get to them. I fix things. I'm doing it myself most of the time, and it's all small stuff like drain plugs, you know, and I just wish that there was somebody who would listen to me for once on this, because right now I just got a bill for $375. Somebody came and picked up trash that was in front of my building. I don't know where it came from. Nobody told me about it. No ordinance officer called me. They got my phone number. They got my email address. They got everything. Didn't tell me, just send me a bill for nothing, and I don't even know what it is. It could be Beale Property dropping it off in the front of my place, for all I know. Sometimes I know it's kind of conspiratorial, but I feel like that. So, I mean, that's all I have to say about it, but it's starting to really, it's just making me, it's just tearing me up, okay?
Would you mind, what street is Your apartment complex?
George Place.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I
We're
appreciate your
looking,
time.
yes. Are there any other public comments?
Jeremy Haley, resident. This has relevance to what I'm going to say in this whole thing. Ann Arbor City Council just approved a new building to be built with 180 units, 2 bottom floors, to hold cars and stuff. Point is, as they were approving this, they said they want people to be able to live and work in Ann Arbor. And within the same sentence that they also said, or the mayor, I should say, said that they have a housing crisis brought onto them by the increase of students going to U of M. And one of the council members said in the last 20 years, they had a 35% increase in the number of students going to U of M. Well, the building that they approved for is a 180-unit student building for students. Okay, you talk about they're not telling the truth and you don't really want to call them liars. I would, because the next meeting I'm going to go to the Ann Arbor City Council and tell the mayor and all the council members they're all hypocrites. They want people to live and work there. Students don't live and work there. They live and go to school there. There's a difference, okay? You got to be able to call it out when you see it. And at this point in the game, you have nothing to lose. On the plutonium pits, why do we want plutonium as a nuclear weapon? It goes back to World War II when we dropped the 2 bombs on Japan. One was uranium, one was plutonium. They found one of them was you can make in a smaller package and gave a bigger explosion. What do you think that one was? It's plutonium. And that's why they're developing. I did computational theoretical research in chemistry years ago. I know how that goes. But the point is they're using plutonium and another point is our government was willing to drop 2 bombs as an experiment on tens of thousands of people to test a theory. It has not stopped, and you cannot trust them. So, thank you.
Thank you.
There was one thing I really particularly liked about what you just said, and that was you have nothing to lose by calling it what it is. I was really disappointed when you spoke in front of the Board of Regents and you just kind of offered up Willow Run as the sacrificial lamb. Like, oh, it's not that you need to cancel the problem, just put it over here. Because you come to these meetings and you tell us that you're going to fight against it with everything that you have, but then you go to them and it's a completely different statement of how you feel about it. And this is your chance to tell the U of M community how Ypsi Township feels about it. And we're not calling it what it is. We're not talking about the nuclear weapons. We're not saying we don't want it here at all. And those are things that I think people really want you to be saying, not just to us in the community, but to U of M directly. And on a different issue, I'd also like to know, since we're seeing more and more ICE presence showing up in Ypsi and Ann Arbor, and the city of Ypsi just recently passed a resolution regarding ICE on their public properties and government properties. I'd like to know if we can do something similar to help keep our citizens safe.
And what was your name?
Jessica Kruger.
And you're Ypsi Township?
I am Ypsi Township resident.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
My name's Wendy Vosick, and I'm a township resident. I've tried to engage my neighborhood by handing out flyers, and in doing that, I've talked to people who had no idea what was going on. They thought the data center was Celine. And so I think sending postcards out to township residents is a good idea. If you look around, there aren't any yard signs. There's nothing that tells you, to stand up to U of M in Los Alamos. And if we want community engagement, can we do that with the township board? Can we somehow interact and get the township board and the community together to make this more public, more knowledge out there to the residents? I'm going to keep fighting, and I hope, we get this taken care of in either over at the American Center for Mobility or out of the township altogether. Thank you.
Thank you, and that is a good idea for the mailer. 'Cause like the other resident said, there's just not enough information out there. And the nuclear stuff is something we keep learning. Every day we learn something new. I did not know that they manufacture plutonium pits. That even entered any conversation that we had until bits of pieces of information comes out. And the more people know about it, we know that they will fight against it, and doing a mailer is absolutely a great idea to do that, and we should do that. Any other public?
Yes. Jan Curry, West Michigan Avenue. I had reason to call residential services. In fact, I was calling for the supervisor's office last week, and it's regarding the literature that goes out, and to get these magnet calendars. This is very important, but the problem is that the 2025, there was an error. The same thing happened again this year. Last year, I had for the first pickup, this for compost, I had about 20 cans at the curb. When I called to report that, and I was told, just leave it there, they'll pick it up next week. That's not satisfactory. West Michigan Avenue is a very highly traveled foot traffic is very high there. And we have a lot of returning citizens, and there are just so many problems that seem to be popping up for no reason. Now, to look here in the handbook, there is also a calendar and a schedule for pickup, but it's so microscopic, and it does show the correct dates. I am on week B, and for week B, I'm thinking just like last year, okay, wow, they're going to start the 31st. We could be able to pick this up the 31st. No, we've always in the past, we've had the first week, full week in April, and then it would go through Thanksgiving. And I wonder who is making up these schedules. Who is even smarter than a fifth grader? A fifth grader would have caught this. Two years in a row. And further, this was addressed last year in March at a community meeting. And we said, oh, what's the problem? And he says, yeah, we know it's an error, and so I'm calling Waste Management and having to come out. I really like hearing what other people have to say versus the mistakes that this one person is subjected to, and all the other people who got these calendars. There should be someone to proofread. And I have another question. How are these people vetted? We have too much favoritism, cronyism in this township. And the nepotism is just, this for me is just, it's just totally unacceptable. So I'm very, very concerned about getting information and getting it timely and then complying. Not say, okay, just leave it there, or, having to move stuff. I'm not going to do that. The positive note is I do like seeing on the back of our handbook that we have a list here of our committee meetings and public meetings. I like that. For all the board meetings, this is here. But this is, getting back to these things, I brought my 25 schedule, I brought my 26 schedule, and it's identical. It says the same thing. So when I'm looking at my date, pickup date Tuesday, I'm looking back at Monday, I said, well, gee, those people don't get a pickup because according to calendar, it's not there. So like I said, if you look on the inside of the handbook, it is correct there. So this is a waste of print time, this is a waste of money. If it's not going to be correct, the print was exactly the same. So whoever was responsible for making sure this went to the printer, that red bar line here for 2026 is exactly the same as it was and was for 2025. And our time should be more valued, really, not to adjust this thing. I'm really concerned about what's going on in the township, and the sister over here, I'm very concerned about the inspection fees and all that. What we need an ombudsman, that's what we need. And that's what I was going to talk to the person here about. And all the other things with these plutonium pits and all that. We really need to be concerned about health, safety, and welfare. And to have all of those things put in writing, this cost us money. So it wasn't just one mistake. So tell me, Brenda, now how many residents do we have, or how many residents addresses did these go out to? You know, that's a lot. So to make one mistake, just multiply that by the thousands, and that's wrong. That's my concern.
Thank you, Ms. Curry. We do apologize for the mistake. I know Director Hines was addressing it. I did call you back, Ms. Curry, and left a message, but
Yeah, John Hines, Municipal Services Director. I do oversee the magnet that goes out. I do apologize for that mistake happening, especially twice in a row. You know, I don't have a good excuse. There's just some ambiguity with how Waste Management structured the pickup in years past, and we tried to fix it and missed it in the magnet. Used to be the first full week in April,
Right.
but there was some confusion with the start date last year, so we wanted to nail down a date for the magazine, which was April 6th. The change did not happen in the magnet. I am talking to Waste Management to see about expanding yard waste pickup. You know, the weather is fluctuating. I think we all are aware of that. When you go earlier into March, I mean, that's spring break, which honestly would be a great week for a lot of people to do yard waste. You know, I have children that are going to be out of school. We'll be home more. We have the ability to do a lot of yard work. Also ending in Thanksgiving week, you know, people are out of town. So again, we are having those conversations. You know, again, I do apologize. That was a mistake on our end, and we are working with Waste Management, but we'll make sure to get the word out to all residents, whether it be March 30th or April 6th in due time.
and it won't happen again.
It will not happen again.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
I appreciated you earlier calling out Governor Whitmer and Senator Irwin by name because it's important that people know where their electeds stand. And I actually was unsure where both of those individuals stand. So this is more of an inquiry on my part, but not necessarily asking you to speak for folks who aren't here, but to the extent you can, I'm curious about Representative Peterson and Commissioner Hughes on this issue, what sort of relationship you've had with them, that they've had with the university, et cetera.
Representative Peterson,
Yeah.
you mean Senator?
Is Ronnie Peterson a state senator?
He's not elected. Ronnie Peterson is not currently elected. It's Jimmy Wilson,
Okay.
Representative, and he's definitely against U of M and Los Alamos and not going through the process. And Governor Whitmer, I mean, that's her economic plan, is to attract people here through data centers. And it's been a disaster. It's just an absolute, it's just a disaster for community. Maybe it's good for economics. There's no jobs, especially at the U of M. It's 35. They said 200 jobs, $200,000 a year on site. 35 jobs is what it ends up being. The other jobs are $100 million was for 20 years to hire 200 people, and they're not on site. It started out as 20 acres. It grew into 143 acres. It's been a disaster. Senator Irwin supports U of M and the Los Alamos coming to the site on Textile and Bridge. This is a heavy industrial use. No one knew what a data center was in the beginning. We have learned a tremendous amount. We went and visited them. It is a heavy industrial use, and it should be in a heavy industrial site. But no one should have to have plutonium pits. Like that, a nuclear development, that's not part of U of M. And it's a state, the state is behind it 100%, and the federal government's behind it.
And Washtenaw County, and
Well-
specifically Commissioner Hughes as he relates to the county?
I think he's thinking about Justin Hodges.
Hodge.
Yeah.
So the county commissioners actually have it finally. And, you know, I do feel like I've been begging, and that's not the right thing to do. We should demand, but we were begging for help. I mean, I begged the University of Michigan to go out to the sites and to look at them. We begged the County Board of Commissioners, the state representatives, our federal representatives, and we need to demand it. So the County Board of Commissioners will have it on their agenda for consideration at tomorrow's meeting. So Justin Hodge, Commissioner Hodge has been trying to push that, and it finally got on the agenda. So let's see what happens tomorrow.
Just a helpful point of clarification, U of M in their record newsletter that they send out to all their people, they're still saying there will be 200 jobs, but they're saying they're going to be taking place in a campus in Ann Arbor. So they're not 200 jobs for us.
Which
at
was
all.
lie number one.
Absolutely.
No, lie
But they're
number
still
one.
saying 200 jobs. It's just not in Ipsy. Absolutely not. They say they're going to make their own campus for it.
Probably at the college that they're looking at purchasing.
Concordia.
Concordia, yeah.
Christina Reeves, I stay in Ypsilanti Township. I'm looking at this on my Facebook page on the Ypsilanti Township, actually, and it's talking about the meeting tomorrow, and anybody can attend, and it says you can do it by Zoom as well. So encourage people to attend that meeting tomorrow. It says, let me see. The commissioner meeting includes resolution.
The township website.
Is it downtown Ann Arbor?
We posted it.
Yes, on Main Street.
Yeah, we posted it on
220 North
ipsytownship.org.
Main Street in Ann Arbor, or Zoom, or you can do a Zoom. But if you go on, I'm on Facebook, but look on there on the township's site, and it'll tell you when the meeting is.
ipsytownship.org, yeah.
Yes, township, ytown.org. Yes.
That'll get you there too, yeah. Are there any other public comments? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion Peterson.
Support Thornton.
Support Thornton. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:03, and thank you to everyone that came out.
7:03.
Yes, it probably worked out.